Hello everyone, welcome back to A Skeleton's Library. Today's video, what I wanted to do is give some comic recommendations that anyone can jump right into. Essentially what I mean by that is comics that you can read and don't have to worry too much about, oh, do I need to read about this crossover event and this crossover event? Do I have to read about this author and jump to this run? What do I need to do? Because one of the great internet discourses that recycles itself every month or so is comics versus manga. And manga are just way easier to get into because they're mostly just self-contained stories rather than, parts of a bigger world like comics in the DC or Marvel universes are under that label. And I used to be much more on the manga side for this, but I can agree that very much on the surface level, if you don't know anything about comics or anything, you don't interact with them at all, that manga is definitely easier to grab. Because again, it's just literally what series do I want to start and you grab it. But I do think the intimidation behind comics is really just something looking much bigger than it actually is. You're scared of a shadow rather than the actual thing itself, because once you really start poking around, it's really not that hard to find stuff. And that's essentially the premise of this. Is I just want to give a bunch of easy recommendations for people who aren't really into comics but maybe are interested or want to try, poke around and see. And before I get into recommendations, I just wanted to give one piece of advice for people wanting to get into comics. For me, I think by far the best ways to get into things, especially like superhero characters or characters that are part of big sprawling universes, or omnibuses. They're always contain a very specific run that contains a character's story. It usually gives background you need. Not self-contained, but omnibuses usually also include the comics from other issues that go in with the story. For example, what I'll bring up later is the Question Danny O'Neill run as Batman or Green Arrow show up. And I know the omnibuses have Batman, the Brave and the Bold. Maybe not the Brave and Bold, I forget what it's called. They have Batman issues and they have some Green Arrow issues sprinkled in there for when you might need them for information when this character shows up to know why he's there or why he's doing something. And of course, omnibuses are on the more expensive side. You might not want to take that plunge for a character you don't know if you'll really like or run. To get over that, I would say, one, comic sites usually have omnibuses on them alongside, volumes and issues. So if you, whatever comic site you use, you can just boom that way. And if you don't have the omnibuses on those sites, if you go to a store page that has an omnibus, in the description, they pretty much always list all the issues they're collecting. A Question omnibus will have this omnibus collects 1 through 24. Green Arrow issue boom. Batman this and this issue boom. They usually list them. So there's another way you can just go, oh, okay, and then kind of follow the reading order yourself. Again, it's not that hard. It's like a Google search, which I'll concede is definitely harder than manga. In that manga, you can just grab and read it. And another way besides omnibuses, what I would say is, after you experiment around or poking around, find an author you like. You can just look what the author's done, what runs, what characters, even standalone comics they've written that might interest you, and you hop along that way. And I would say it's really just the easiest way to start dipping your toes into it. Just find a character or find a writer you like, and you go from there. And again, sometimes you'll probably find something you get confused by or hard to understand. I think I read a Justice League Dark series, and they started really mentioning some big war crossover event, and it kind of threw me off because I was like, man, what the fuck are these people talking about? So you'll still have those occasionally, but again, once you get your toes dipped, you'll become, you'll get more experience and you'll be able to dig around more and know what you like and what to expect. Now that little piece of advice is done, I'm going to start off with honorable mention recommendations, which is stuff I either haven't read but I know a friend loves, or issues and series that I may have not gone too far along in. I like what I see so far. So I see these, I'm 70% sure I would recommend it rather than like the 100% the rest are. And to start with that, we have The Walking Dead. Probably easily one of the most recognizable comics ever, mainly because of the show. We all know the show, good or bad, whether you love it or hate it. It has been a cultural phenomenon for a while. It's still, I'm pretty sure, some spin-offs of it are still going to this day. But I mainly recommend this one because I have a friend who I trust his taste, because we have very similar tastes on a lot of things, who read it, really loved it, says it's great. Of course, you know the basic premise, zombies, which I feel like can be a little bit of an overdone, trope at this point, so if you're into that, this will probably be for you. I hear it has a bunch of great characters, iconic villains. It's just an easy one to pick up, a little self-contained series. And after getting you Kirkman, we have the universe he set up with the Transformers and G.I. Joe. If you have any interest in either of those two properties, this is pretty easy to get into. I feel like I've read around 10 issues of Transformers, and it's pretty good. I would say you really don't need to have a lot of Transformers knowledge, because I don't, outside of like the first Michael Bay movie. It's a whole new universe, so it's pretty easy for newcomers to follow along. It's really good, really fun from what I've read. It is a little bit of a darker take on Transformers, I feel. So, if you prefer like the friendly, fun kid action, it might not be for you. But if you want like that darker, slightly darker take with all the same themes, this might be for you. Alongside the G.I. Joe stuff, which I haven't read too much of that, but I did read the King Cobra little mini series, which I really liked. And this is a universe I have to poke around in more. I've really enjoyed what I've read. So this is, again, another easy recommendation for anyone who's maybe into this more specific property. The Absolute Universe. And here I've read most of Absolute Batman. I'm pretty caught up to it, which I feel like most people probably know about Absolute Batman at this point because it's been really popular. It's kind of blown up. A lot of the Absolute series have been pretty popular, at least comics, wise. Absolute Batman's fucking awesome, super over the top. It's so over the top it rounds back around to be cool, you know what I mean? Like, this is a giant battle axe, is his crest. Like, it's so over the top edgy, it fully wraps around to being badass. Oh yeah, Absolute Wonder Woman, I haven't read, but again, I heard it's great. Absolute Superman, I'll be honest, I heard was mid. Take that with a grain of salt, maybe only read if you're very interested in the character, or like the movies or something, and want to try something new. Absolute Martian Manhunter, I hear is fantastic. I really want to read that one. I will say with that one, I know it plays with like page tricks and stuff, so you might want to get it physically. And they're coming out with other stuff like Absolute Green Hunter, Absolute Green Arrow. So this is really just a universe that's super over the top, super fun. It's just, again, another easy place to jump in and recognize yourself with at least some versions of popular characters, because obviously it's like a whole crazy universe, so they're not, a lot of them are like flipped and plays on the characters rather than the traditional interpretations, but I feel that they can still be like a really just nice and easy place to start, because again, you don't have to worry about all these years of history or anything, oh, there's a spin-off universe, there's gotta be differences, and I can kind of let you get into some of the grander things. After that, we have the Black Monday Murders, which this one I think only has 2 volumes, and I've read a good bit into the first volume. It's just a cool like horror story with great art. The general idea is about a bunch of financiers, like Wall Street guys, who have made a deal with a god called Mammon. They essentially use that to make their millions. And alongside that, we have like a detective investigating like a string of murders and deaths. Right now, so far it's been good. I think it's pretty by the numbers for this type of story. Like, if you've read something like this, you kind of know what it's going to be about and where it's going, but it's still very fun so far. Still very good. Again, I'm not too far into this one, but again, I just wanted to recommend some stuff that wasn't just DC and Marvel and superhero stuff, so that I have a wide range of recommendations for people who might not want to start comics with superhero stuff, might want to try something new. After that, we have the Department of Truth. This one I have like the first 2 volumes of, but I really like the first volume. The easiest way I can explain and sell it to people is think of like maybe an even darker version of X-Files mixed with like the SCP universe is kind of the vibes it gives me. The whole ideas, conspiracies in the world can just become true through belief. And there's a department who sets out to fight those beliefs and make the world stay how they want it rather than like this crazy conspiracy world. Really good, again dark, super like fantastic and haunting art. This one is pretty much 100% recommendation, but I've only read the first volume. I really love it. I think it's really cool. Again, it's something different than just superhero stuff. And now that's kind of all the honorable recommendations done. So now I'm just going to give a couple one-off recommendations, which is stories that either are contained in like one volume or like one graphic novel. So like if you want to buy these or check them out, you can usually just find them. It's all in one book. And that makes it, again, a lot easier if you're newer to the medium to just read and get out of the way. And this first one's the shortest. It's called Cressy. I don't know exactly how to pronounce it, but it's essentially just a comic about a real life battle that took place following some pretty despicable characters during this really bloody war in history. It's very short, very raw and bloody. Again, it's just a little cool time. If you're a fan of history or battles or anything, this is an easy recommendation. You might want to just consume this one digitally so you don't give them any support, or buy it secondhand. Here we have one of the more well-known ones, V for Vendetta. You know, I'm sure plenty of people have seen the movie. If you've seen the movie, you might not want to read it. It's just the movie's a pretty solid adaptation, but again, it's just a great little graphic novel. You can just take it, do it one read. It's all contained in one book. It's just nice. You know you're gonna get something good. Here we have The Me You Love in the Dark, which is essentially about a young artist having a little relationship with a haunted house, essentially. I'm pretty sure this is all collected in one issue. I have it, I've read it. I think it's pretty fine. I don't think it's anything super special. It's pretty by the numbers, but I found the art fun. The story, again, while by the numbers, was, good enough. I do like the themes of it. If this is just like in the concept of something that interests you, I think this is a nice little easy read again. You can sit down and just one session, boom. Here we have the quintessential comic recommendation, Watchmen. And there's not much to say. Most people know Watchmen, whether it's through the movie or just through reputation. If you have any interest, again, if you're watching the video, I assume you have interest in reading comics. If you do, you probably have heard of this one. It's one of the greatest comics of all time. It's not overhyped. It really is. Honestly, this is one you can just recommend to people even if they don't like comics, they have no interest. It's just a great read all around. Worth all the hype. And after that we have The Crow. The Crow is, again, another one people might know because of the movie adaptation. And this is a very powerful story. It's super over the top, wears its hearts on its sleeve. Super edgy, super gothic. The story itself really is study on grief because the author, James Abar, essentially wrote this, poured his grief into it from his fiance who had recently died from a car accident. So you really get that raw feeling of grief here. And when you know the story behind it, can make this it makes this book even more poignant. It makes it even more heartbreaking to read, knowing this is like a real life dude's way of coping with a tragedy is to pour it into this story. Like I said, for some it might be too edgy, too over the top, maybe even like corny, but to me it just wears all this so purely, again, heart on the sleeve, that I can't help but love it. And I love gothic stuff and edgy stuff, so it helps that it appeases my taste anyway. That was done with my one-offs, by the way. Now we're just gonna go into some DC, because I say I'm much more of a DC guy, so I think I only have like one Marvel story in here. The Dennis O'Neil question run, which I think the question 10 exists before this, and this is a reboot, but this is essentially seen by most as the quintessential question run, like the first real run, and kind of the only real run compared to like most stuff. If you like Batman and anywhere characters like that, you'll like this. Again, there's a faceless detective who fights crime. Unlike something like Batman, he's a lot more human than Batman. You see him struggle a lot more. He really feels much more like a really, still well-trained dude who still feels very human. It's a story with plenty of like poignant themes, politics, and just a great little classic art style. And some of the most beautiful omnibuses you'll ever see. This volume 1 and volume 2 are like some of my favorite omnibuses I own. They're just so good. I also think it's a good intro to some characters, like Green Arrow pops up a few times in this, and it actually made me a fan of Green Arrow and want to look into his stuff. So again, it's just nice and easy. You'll get some little crossovers, but like I said, with the omnibuses, they list the specific issues if you're not reading the omnibuses. And if you are, you don't have to worry about that. It doesn't take much work. Again, these are small, simple crossovers, like a couple issues mainly you have to read outside of the main thing. Next up, this one's a purely bias pick because John Constantine is my favorite comic book character, and Hellblazer is what really got me into comics. Like, I went and literally found the first, volume of the whole run, because it's one of the longest running series ever. It has like 300 issues or something. And yeah, I'm honestly just going to recommend you read it from the start. Start at volume 1 and keep going till you want to stop. There's some crossover things like Swamp Thing. I know Constantine, like, again, when I read Sandman, he's in the Sandman universe. I can't remember if that ties into the actual Hellblazer series or what. But either way, this is mostly standalone. It has some crossovers, but it's not too much you'll need to worry about. Again, you'll find one of the best characters in comics here. And you have a lot of good runs. You have stuff from Ennis, the original, Delano run. There's a lot of good stuff in these. There's also a couple omnibuses out. I have the Ennis one. I know there's ones I think for the Delano run. So if you want like an easier way to consume them rather than my suggestion of just volume 1 and keep going, you have those as well. After that, we have some Batman stuff, which Batman Year 1, I feel like this is pretty easy to guess why it's an easy beginner one. You get the first year of Batman, so you get the whole philosophy behind him, you see how he started. A nice easy read to see the beginnings of one of the most iconic characters of all time. And the follow that I have Long Halloween, I think it's a really good follow-up to Year 1 because it kind of continues that death of traditional crime and the beginning of the rogues gallery and these villains. It's really good, a fun mystery. Real Guard is a classic for a reason. And then to me, we have the follow-up to Long Halloween, which I feel like is less talked about, but to me is the most quintessential Batman book. It's my favorite Batman story by far, especially as a Two-Face fan, and that's Batman Dark Victory. This, to me, is everything you want. Again, it follows that death of traditional crime. You get Robin, you get Batman realizing how he needs Robin. It's everything. Again, even like a lot of people treat Robin as like the goofier aspect of Batman, but he's seamlessly put in here. He fits perfectly. To me, this is just a perfect story to me. I love this one. This is my favorite Batman story by far. After that, I'm going to recommend some Garth Ennis, which the first one's Preacher. An easy disclaimer here is Ennis is very over-the-top edgy. Super edgelord. A lot of super edgy moments happen in his books. I feel like they don't really have much meaning behind them. They're just thrown there for like shock's sake. I feel like Preacher and then the next one I'm going to recommend it has some of the least. What you probably know from Ennis is The Boys. You probably know the show. He wrote the comic. Again, a lot of people super hate it. I think the comic is kind of like a 6 out of 10, whatever. I don't really think much about it. I think that's probably like a 5 out of 10 to me. Again, there's a lot of those shock scenes. I think Preacher is pretty good with them. I'm not like going overboard with them or having too much, and it just tells a very poignant story, this odyssey of these characters. You get really invested, especially with one of the characters and how they kind of flip the script on you. It's just a great American epic. Read it. Then next up by our Garth Ennis, we have our one Marvel property, which is Punisher Max. I feel like if you know anyone who likes the Punisher, this is what they're going to tell you is the most definitive Punisher run. There's not much to say about it. It really gets into Frank's characterization. You get a lot of shooting, violence, blood. Everything people who like the Punisher are interested in him are going to love. I don't have much to say about it, then this is probably, I think this is actually the first long-running series I read, even before Hellblazer. I think I'd picked this up early on, I read it, and then like I stopped reading comics for a while. I was just like, oh, okay, that was good, before I got into it with Hellblazer and stuff. And that's the two Ennis things I wanted to suggest. I know a lot of people give him a lot of shit because how much of an edgelord he can be, but I think these two works in particular are still extremely good, alongside his Hellblazer run too, of course. And lastly, we have my favorite comic of all time, Hellboy. I don't know if you've seen this YouTube video. I feel like I get recommended all the time that goes, Hellboy is America's Berserk. And it really is this odyssey of a journey following Hellboy, who is this character, this hero, fighting against a prophecy that he's going to destroy the world. We watch him fight his destiny as he takes on monsters, sorcerers, demons, people, Nazis, the whole smorgasbord. And it's like, if once you read this, you'll get why everyone loves it. It's a beautiful story, super fun characters, super fun time. I love Mignola's art. This is a self-contained universe, though his universe is pretty big as he adds a lot and writes about a lot of the characters that you can just sink yourself into. Regardless if you've never picked up a comic. You like Hellboy, you can read a BRPD, which is like, maybe considered like the main story of this universe. And you like a character like Lobster Johnson or Abe, they have their own fucking little comics too. Mike Mignola also even has, like, again, stuff that's kind of unrelated, like Joe Golem, which is a whole new universe. I think Baltimore's a whole new universe. Mignola's just a really good entryway. He just has a ton of great stuff. He has a very consistent output. Hell, he even has stuff like Batman Gotham by Gaslight, I think it's called, which is a fun little Cthulhu spin-off Batman story. I feel like Mike Mignola's stuff is like the easiest and best stuff to recommend to beginners. Again, you don't need anything prior, you can just jump right in. Hellboy Volume 1. You're in it. I've given all my comic recommendations that I believe are easy for beginners that you can just jump right into. Let me know if you think these are good recommendations, if you liked them, if maybe you want more in the future, and I'll see you next time.